Three, two, one. Welcome to Lesbian Love. This is your girl V. I interview couples who have been together for longer than 10 years and also single men and women in the LGBT plus community to discuss the challenges that they face. Today, I have a special guest, Tonya. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Tonya, when I say the word love, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Commitment. Unconditional.
And tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a native North Carolinian. Mother of one adult son who's married, and he and his wife just welcomed their daughter. So I'm a grandmother also now.
Okay. New baby. Congratulations.
Yes.
How long have you been gay or a part of this community?
Since 1992.
And at that time, were you in high school or college?
Coming out of a marriage. Had a 3-year-old son, and what better time than to know who I am? So I decided to know who I really was, be my true self.
So you were newly separated at that time from a man?
Yes.
Okay. And during that time, I imagine it was really taboo to even explore your sexuality.
It wasn't like it is now. You had to be careful. If you're trying to hang out, certain clubs, people would see you going in. I remember being in Greensboro one night, the guy told me, you trying to go to that club around there? And I was like, yeah. And he was trying to tell me that was not the place I needed to go. Evidently, he thought I was straight and didn't know where I was going, but I told him, okay, and I kept right on walking and went to Babylon. Had a wonderful time.
Now, prior to that, did you know that you were attracted to women?
I had a crush on my teacher when I was in the 2nd grade. I knew, but early 60s, it was just not, I don't think I'd ever heard the word homosexual at that time. Mm-hmm. And I knew it was not something I was supposed to tell anybody or talk about, so I kept it to myself.
You took that time to explore yourself and understand your sexuality better?
I thought that it just hit me. Now's the time to be sure who I am before I do anything else. Let me be sure who I am. So I started exploring to be sure I wasn't going through a phase.
Right. That's important for experimenting.
Yeah, I did some experimenting.
Now, at this point in your life, how long have you been single?
Actually, I've been single since May of 2012.
It's a long time. And why did your last relationship end?
My wife passed in May, and I just took the time to go through that grief. You don't know how long it may take.
I'm sorry to hear that, but I am glad that you took the time to heal, because most people immediately jump into the next relationship. And it's important to take the time to work on yourself and to heal and to not take that baggage immediately into a new relationship.
That is so true, because when you bring that excess baggage, you're bogging down not only yourself, but the person who you're entering into a relationship with, and that's not fair to them.
Mm-mm. In our community, we have a lot of labels. We have a lot of letters, and we have a lot of labels. So anything from AG, femme, stud. How do you label yourself?
I label me as Tonya. But if somebody has to label me, I'm okay with being called soft butch. Mm-hmm. I know I'm nowhere near feminine.
Mm-hmm. What qualities do you look for in another woman?
I look for someone with integrity. I need for her to be sure in who she is. Hopefully, if she's accepted her sexuality and she stands strong and firm in it. I need for whoever I'm with to be God-fearing. She's going to have to understand that I'm a churchgoer and I have strong faith in God. And I also hold the title of deacon at my church. So there'll be times when I may talk with another female in the church, and it's just simply that it's church business. There's nothing romantic about it. It's strictly platonic. And I have to be sure that the woman that I'm with is strong enough to understand that and see that and trust in me. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of trust that has to come into play.
Yeah, trust is definitely crucial.
Yeah, trust and communication. So she needs to know how to communicate.
What's the hardest part of dating?
Whew. At my age, I hate to see it, but it's like the good ones are gone. But there's some out there in the same situation I'm in. You may have lost your spouse to death. We're there. Also, I look at where they are emotionally, whether or not they've dealt with their past and they're in a position to move forward in life. And I said, being a deacon, I have to take into consideration, are they able to understand where I am with that? And I practice this thing called celibacy. So, woman has to understand, I need to get to know her before there's any sexual intimacy.
Right.
There can be intimacy, it's just not sexual. I need to feel that connection.
Right. I need to know you.
Yes.
Yeah, before I lay down with you.
Yes. As LJ, I need to know you in the light of day.
Yeah. That's important for you to know what you're looking for and for you to develop who you are as an individual. But what were some of your role models to get to that point?
There was a couple. I've known one person in a couple since I was a child. She used to braid my hair. And when she married in 1984, I got to know her wife. And they were very much devoted to each other all the way. One has passed all the way through. I saw the care and the attention that they gave one another. I've also had straight friends who show the same type of care and attention to one another. And it's like that undevotional, no matter what you're going through, if I've got to put on my armor and be strong for you, that's what I'm going to do. And then when I'm going through, you can do the same for me. I watched my pastor now and her wife. They don't know I watch them, but I watch the closeness they have when they lean into one another, when they're just sitting. I watch how attentive they are to one another, even how they say each other's names. So having solid people in my life, whether they are gay or straight, and they have strong relationships, and luckily most of them I've seen them and watched them go through the dating period, and they have kids now, and they're in relationships that are like 20, 30 years old. So I've had some good role models.
I do want to ask, are all of your friends and family members, children, everyone supportive of your lifestyle or understanding?
Yes. My mom, she was before her time. When I finally came out to her, she said, "Child, I wonder what took you so long." I'm like, oh. My older brother, who was gay too, he thought I was going through a phase, and he was concerned because he said, this is not an easy life. Friends of mine, they were just like my mom. Girl, we figured that out. We didn't know what you were waiting on. My son is very accepting. He and his wife both. In fact, my granddaughter's godmother is a gay woman. And she's very much in my granddaughter's life. And she takes that role very seriously. My cousins, friends, co-workers, I thought when I came out the closet, I would lose people. And actually, I gained them. I became closer to some people. So it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It actually, mine worked out wonderfully. And I wish it would work that way for other people, even though I know it doesn't.
That's important that you had that support system. Did you lose some people along the way? Were there some people who could not accept you?
I didn't lose a soul.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Not a soul.
Because I'm sure you've heard of stories where that has not been the case for some people, or they've been disowned by their family.
Yeah, my wife, family, I don't think the father, he was never accepting. And I'm pretty sure there were uncles and aunts who weren't either. And things they would say that she would hear as a kid growing up led her to stay in the closet herself longer than she would have had they been accepting or just allowed her to be who she was. So she stayed in that closet because of what she heard family say, and she didn't want to take a chance on losing family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. But sooner or later, life is what it is. You get to a point where you just have to be yourself.
Right. You have to walk in your truth.
Yes.
That's important. What do you want to say to society to address the way that lesbian relationships and the LGBT plus community are viewed?
The LGBT plus community have the same struggles as the straight community. We're raising families. We're having to work, feed our families, pay the bills. We lose parents just as the straight community does. I think it's really sad that a lot of times parents of LGBT plus, we got alphabets now.
Yes.
Sometimes the parents don't support their children, and in not supporting their child, they push them away.
Mm-hmm.
And when they push them away, they don't realize what they're pushing them out there into, to people that don't have any care for them. I think we are sometimes judged solely on the sexual part. Mm-hmm. And the same thing that goes on in a gay couple's bedroom is the same thing that goes on in a straight couple's bedroom. There's not much of a difference, if any. I just think people need to understand that every family has a gay person in it somewhere, whether they acknowledge it to you or not. They're there. They deserve to be treated respectfully. Anybody does, regardless of your sexual orientation. I think when we as a society get to the point that we're not judging because it's not our place, we will have fewer suicides in our community. Right. We will have fewer families broken up. So it's just a matter of people walking in truth, and that's it.
And that's why I just wanted to have some open discussions, because I want to create a platform where we can focus on our similarities and not our differences. And at the end of the day, to promote healthy, long-term, committed relationships, to promote love, and to kind of dispel hate, which is prevalent in society.
Yes.
So, Tonya, I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. Thank you for your insight. I know that you've been a part of the LGBT plus community for a very long time, and I'm sure you have a lot of stories to share. We might have to get together again and sit down and talk about some of those. But thank you for your time and your insight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you next time right here on Lesbi Love for our next interview. In the meantime, remember, let's be the love that you want to see in this world.